All right, 2.8 billion. That's the number of active social media users worldwide. And it's not just millennials who are scrolling through the Facebook feeds and building networks on LinkedIn. In fact, 70% of adults in the United States use at least one social media site, and that's an upward trend year over year. So that kind of brings us to our main point. Social media isn't just a trend anymore. So instead, it's actually an integral part of your clients' daily lives. Even in its simplest form, social media can drive conversations and also connect individuals to family, friends, and even brands. To turn prospective clients into policyholders and keep them engaged throughout their tenure, it's really critical that insurance agents like you get social. Today, we're going to scroll through ways insurance agents can expand audience reach and engage clients throughout social media. We'll start with a brief introduction before investing some time to discover which channels are right for your agency. Aligning your posts with agency goals and building a fan base are also topics we'll explore. Thank you so much for joining this webinar. My name is Emily Kuzan, and I am a digital content specialist at Smart Harbor, and I'm joined by my fellow Smart Harbor crewmate and fellow digital content specialist, Tanisha English. So we're happy to have you aboard, and we hope you hashtag a few useful social media strategies.
So taking a look at the poll here, it looks like majority of you do have a social media strategy in place, which is awesome. So hopefully as we go through this, the webinar, you'll be able to take some of these topics that we have and be able to add that into your strategy. So let's start off with some basics. Even if you're not personally active on social media, you've probably heard the terms Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and so forth. So what do all of these terms have in common? Besides being innovative and growing global companies, they're also thriving social media networks. You can think of these platforms as the digital applications that enable users to create and share content, as well as participate in social networking experiences online. The social media landscape is constantly evolving. Trends which may have been relevant 6 months ago probably have since shifted with the introduction of new technology and ever-changing consumer habits. However, that does not mean that your agency should steer away from joining the conversation and investing in social media marketing. Millennials like myself and Emily pretty consistently get a bad rap for being too busy playing on our phones to thoroughly engage in conversation. But just because our life may appear to be lived on screen, that does not mean that our generation is fully disengaged. The conversations just take place in a different manner than it has in the past, and oftentimes that manner is through social media. However, millennials are not the only generation engaging on social media. For example, Americans aged 45 to 54 are spending more time on Facebook year over year and represent 21% of the total time spent on the platform, which is more than any other age group. So as we said before, social media is no longer a trend, and finding the right strategy for your agency now will save you time and energy in the long run. I also want to go out there that if you haven't gotten a chance to see Smart Harbor's 2018 key predictions for insurance agencies, the first trend that is on there is all about infrastructure. So insurers want to feel like they are able to access and communicate with their agency 24/7. And while this may not be completely possible, being a part of social media can make them feel that it is. So social media is not only for users, but also businesses. From gaining customer insight to increasing brand awareness and loyalty, social media is a digital tool used by businesses of all types, both large and small. This concept extends to insurance agencies, which are finding ways to turn prospective clients into policyholders and keep them engaged throughout the policy life cycle. Social media is a marketing option that is highly accessible to insurance agencies at a very low cost. In fact, most of the costs associated actually translate to the time that it takes to properly manage an effective social media presence. So here at Smart Harbor, we work with insurance agents on developing their social media strategies on a daily basis. And from these interactions, we've discovered that a little pre-planning goes a long way to solving this pain point. Along with accessibility, social media is also a big component of building an integrated digital presence. Here, the insurance agencies on our website program that post consistently to social media actually had 250% more referral traffic to their website from a social platform like Facebook or LinkedIn than agencies that don't post consistently. So driving this traffic to the place where current and prospective clients can learn more about your product offerings, as well as request a quote, should be a key digital aspiration for your agency. Good old-fashioned relationship building is also an advantage shared amongst locally owned and operated insurance agencies. Social media serves as an innovative technique to enrich existing relationships as well as create a method to engage potential clients. This dialogue between brands and customers is something traditional advertising just simply can't achieve. And we could go on and on with reasons why insurance agencies should consider joining the social media conversation. However, increasing brand awareness and making it easier for customers to find and connect with your agency are the critical ones. A study by the Social Habit shows that 53% of Americans who follow brands on social media are actually more loyal to those brands. And your insurance agency is also a brand, so you should be marketing that aspect.
So are you just getting started on social media, or maybe you're strategizing where your agencies should invest the most time? The answer is going to start and stop with Facebook. When comparing the percentage of Internet users who use each platform, 79% of U.S. adults use Facebook. So at Smart Harbor, 91% of traffic to our insurance-related websites from social media platforms can be attributed to Facebook. The next highest generator is going to be LinkedIn, which is at about 5%. So quick quiz, why do we want to navigate digital traffic back to our website? And the answer is going to be because clients can find more in-depth product information and then digitally request a quote. Although Facebook's market share is striking when we compare it to the other networks, it doesn't mean that your entire strategy should be solely based on Facebook. Different platforms are going to attract different users, and users' frequently categories and reports reflect differences in age, gender, and income. So although Facebook accounts for the highest percentage of overall users at 79%, LinkedIn is the most popular among users with a higher income, and 45% of adult users in the United States with an income higher than $75,000 are actually on LinkedIn. So when we begin developing a social media strategy for agencies at Smart Harbor, we first focus on Facebook, then we transition to a more in-depth strategy on LinkedIn. For both platforms, it's really essential that you develop a shared strategy across your agency and post content on a consistent basis. It's also really important not to get off on the wrong foot by creating your agency's Facebook or LinkedIn as a personal profile. We see that a lot. And your insurance agency is a business, and businesses go through a slightly different process during setup than the personal pages. So LinkedIn is a really useful tool for agencies that are looking to establish relationships with other businesses. So it's not only an effective recruiting tool for your agency, but it can also help recruit businesses that may be interested in partnering with your agency as a client. Have your staff members connect with other business profiles to their personal accounts and display your agency as their employer. So also get your branding in front of users searching for your staff directly, and then I would suggest that you follow other businesses as a good way to also get your foot in the door. And then for Facebook, obviously it's just really important to engage your audience. Many businesses, regardless of industry, just create a business profile on Facebook because they feel obligated based on some of the things that we've talked about without any real intention of being active on the platform. More than 1 billion users globally log into Facebook every day, and that's a lot of clutter to cut through. So in order to do that, you must, achieve consistent messaging and interaction with your audience. And we'll cover the types of posts you should be leveraging a bit later, but there's so much more to Facebook than simply generating posts on behalf of your agency. Share local events going on in your community, and if someone comments on your agency's post, don't be afraid to comment back. And then sticking to these social platforms, Facebook and LinkedIn, should give you a pretty solid foundation before expanding your reach to other platforms such as Instagram, Twitter, or Pinterest. Although all of these platforms are valuable in their own sense and can be really powerful tools for your agency, we see them as additional layers for some insurance agencies, not necessarily the majority.
So for those of you who are on our website program, speak to your relationship managers every month, and just as they talk to you about optimizing your website for search engines, you should also take the time to do this for the social media platforms that you're using. So Facebook works like Google in many ways. Number one, Facebook does have its own algorithm that determines who or what you see when you first log in on your desktop or open the app on your smartphone or tablet. Secondly, you are able to search for people, places, and things just as you would on any other major search engine. So here are a few things that you can do today to get your social media platforms optimized. The first thing, like Emily talked about, is be sure that you have your pages set up correctly. Many people make the mistake of initially setting up their agency's social media profiles wrong. So for Facebook and LinkedIn, you need to make sure you are creating a business page, not just another personal profile. And actually, if you do plan on using Instagram, if you're not aware, Facebook owns Instagram, so you are able to set up a business Instagram account as well, so you should make sure that you do that. If your Facebook and LinkedIn page doesn't have a follow or like button and only shows a add a friend or connect option, then your profile is not set up right. So not only is it against Facebook guidelines to operate a business through a personal page, you also won't be able to see insights or analytics when your page is not set up the right way. Secondly, you want to make sure that your agency's name on all platforms is consistent. As you can see with the examples here with the Point Insurance, they have the same name across every platform that they're on as well as their website. So let's say if I was an agency and I was Tanisha's Insurance Agency on Facebook, but then on LinkedIn I was Tanisha's Insurance Agency, Inc., this may be confusing to some customers, but it's definitely confusing to search engines because they're not able to tell that that is the same agency or the same business. Number three, you should use similar imagery for headers, cover photos, and profile pictures. So again, with the Point Insurance, they do a great job with this. They have the same logo, same color scheme consistently across all of their platforms. So imagine if an agency had different pictures on different platforms, and in some places they were Agency Inc. or Agency & Co. That could definitely be confusing for people. They may not be able to connect the dots that it's the same place. Number four, you want to make sure that you're completely filling out your agency's descriptions and bios, About Me sections on social platforms. So just like your home page and About Us page on the website, this is where customers are going to get the information about your agency and understand what you have to offer. This is also where search engines will pull from if someone is searching for you or something similar online. So these descriptions should be very similar, but do not copy and paste the same bio or description for every social platform. You should make sure that this is unique while still capturing the brand messaging of your business. Number five, you should list your agency's address completely if there's a section that calls for it. So social media works much like a local listing in that aspect. So you need to make sure that you have the same address that's on your website. It should be on your Facebook page, LinkedIn business page, and it should be the same down to the suite number. So if you are Suite A, it should say that. It shouldn't say Room A if it's actually a suite. Is it Sesame Street or Sesame Boulevard? These little details may seem tedious, but they are extremely, extremely vital to your digital presence. Number six, you want to make sure that you link your social platforms back to your website. So keep in mind that you already have a foot in the door when it comes to digital marketing, and that is with your website. So utilize social media in tandem with that so that you can not only drive traffic to your site, but you can showcase featured products and services. So at Smart Harbor, all of our website templates can be customized to incorporate promotion of your social media platforms to make it easier between online experiences. So if this is something that you're currently not doing, make sure that you connect with your relationship managers on your next call to get that set up.
So typically when you ask an insurance agent what their business objective is, chances are you'll hear one of two responses. Either I want to retain my book of business or I want to grow my book of business. It's simply the nature of the industry. So social media should not be your only resource to accomplish one or both of these goals, but it can be a really valuable tool to help you achieve your results. So when I work with insurance agents that express a primary goal of retaining their book of business, the first thing I recommend is that we profile their target audience. You know your clients, but do you know what it takes to be part of their daily lives and social conversations, aside from providing insurance coverage, of course. If you operate an insurance agency near a retirement community in Florida, your social media strategy is going to be different from an agency located in a college town in the Midwest. So just because the client profiles for these agencies differ, it doesn't mean that the social media can't be equally impactful for both of these agencies. It just indicates that their strategies to connect with existing clients need to be a little bit different. So profiling your client base can lead to a more well-rounded and engaging content strategy. The posts that perform the best for agencies on our social media program are usually personalized to the agency and their client base. They aren't going to be carrier-branded advertisements or general articles shared that don't accurately reflect the needs of the agency's audience. Instead, they're going to be posts sharing staff gatherings, notices of community events, insights into service projects, birthday wishes to staff members, weather announcements, emergency updates, holiday greetings, even an occasional update on regulation changes that could impact a policyholder. The best performing posts are going to be engaging, creative, and most importantly, provide value or entertainment to the client. After all, social media isn't such a stiff environment. It's meant to be professional, but it can still be fun and impactful.
So when an agency tells us that they want to use social media as a tool to grow their business, we immediately bring up the importance of consistent brand messaging. So for prospective clients, your agency's digital presence may be their first impression, so you don't want to make it a negative one. Don't be afraid to monitor what your direct competitors are doing on social media as well. So if you use Facebook, they have an insights tool, which is essentially the analytics for your Facebook page, and it allows you to track Facebook pages that may be in your area or just local competitors. You can look at the activity, the engagement, the audience growth, and compare that to your own. So the reason why you should be paying attention to your competitors is that the strategies they implement in terms of content and post timing may provide insight into what works for your market. So learn from their wins or their mistakes along with your own and be able to better your strategy overall. The most important thing we tell insurance agencies who are trying to grow their business through social is to not be afraid to experiment. So we've talked a lot about engaging your audience, but expanding your audience and your post reach is also critical, especially on Facebook. So what we mean by reach is when you make a post on your Facebook page, there are two key indicators of performance. One is going to be engagement, the second is reach. So engagement translates to the interactions with the post, such as comments, likes, and shares, while reach is how many people may have simply seen your post. So if you want to grow your audience, you need to focus on expanding the reach of your post to more people. From our experience, putting dollars behind your post through Facebook boosting is a great way to expand your reach in an affordable manner. You can see with this post on the screen, putting as little as $5 to $10 behind a Facebook post can truly have a strong impact on your reach.
So regardless of your agency's goals, there's still going to be some general social media practices that agencies should always perform consistently. So once you decide to implement social media for your agency, like anything you do, you need to be able to, confirm that you can devote the appropriate amount of time and resources to keep it effective. So by creating a content calendar, you're one step closer to efficiently laying out your plan. So at Smart Harbor, we create a unique content calendar for each client to ensure that we're posting the right posts at the right frequency. So for us, we adhere by the 80-20 rule when we plan our calendars. That just means that 80% of our content is usually non-insurance related, and 20% focuses more on industry insight and thought leadership. Our research indicates that there's really a significant drop in post performance, both in terms of engagement and reach for any kind of insurance-related content. So that doesn't mean that you need to avoid posting about insurance altogether. We just recommend limiting insurance topics to 20% of your post total. And when you do post about insurance, try to do it in more of a sneaky, creative manner. Subtle product promotions like the one on the screen are more what we recommend. And for those crunched for time, there is good news. Social media posts don't necessarily need to be long and lengthy. We found that the optimal post is only 100 to 250 characters. So The phrase, "a picture is worth 1,000 words," especially rings true with social media. So when brainstorming what to post, try to keep in mind that a visual component will always help the post perform better. Consider adding a photo, video, GIF, or article to give your content a little more oomph. So once you've crafted that perfect post, now what do you do? We found that the most posts perform the best between 9 and 11 a.m. or 2 and 3 p.m. So however, there's always going to be some trial and error involved when it comes to your agency's performance. So feel free to experiment with the timing and note how the posts do to implement your own strategy moving forward.
So what are some brands that you currently follow on social media? For me, I follow a lot of sports teams, musicians. My friend actually plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they're, of course, a team that I follow across social media platforms. So think of your agency like a sports team and build your fan base accordingly. Brand loyalty doesn't only account for sports or entertainment brands. You just need to give current and prospective clients a reason to follow and want to engage with your agency on social. So make sure you know your audience and consider what types of information or insight would be valuable to them. You're their local trusted provider, so extend this concept to social media. If you can get followers to share your content on their social platforms, imagine the new people that now have access to your brand. That is essentially what extending your fan base is all about. So it's also important to define your tone on social media. We've discussed the differences between social media networks in depth, and your tone may alter slightly across these channels. So, for example, your agency's post on LinkedIn may be more professional in tone than your post on Facebook. However, this is just a standard that should be considered and shared by anyone who is posting to your agency's account.
So something we always hear a lot, what's the point of posting if no one's going to see it? So when you're just starting out, we know that it can be really frustrating to put time and energy into posting and not see a lot of engagement. However, ensuring that your page is optimized and has a base of content aligned with your agency's goals is the best way to get started. Posting regularly not only gives your page credibility when someone stops by, but it also gives potential new followers a reason to engage and stick around. So once you have a solid base of posts, then it's time to get social. To gain page followers on Facebook, you can always invite your friends from your personal page. And we always tell our agencies to encourage their employees to also share the page to their list of friends. And then go ahead and start using social media for what it was designed for, networking. It's a really great way to grow your followers. Make a list of other small local businesses in your area and start following and liking their Facebook pages and posts. There's a good chance that other businesses will return the favor. And you can also share events or tag businesses in your posts just for that added layer of networking. You also have a plethora of potential followers in your current clients. Shoot them an email sharing links to your platforms and ask if they follow your page, or you can always add page links into your email signature.
So now let's talk about some of the challenges that you could face when implementing your social strategy, which usually is kind of where we get into, trying to make people understand the importance. A lot of times the challenges seem bigger than what they may actually be. So we're often asked by agents who are on our social media program how often they should be posting. So this strategy may actually, fluctuate a bit depending on the social media network that you're using, but we recommend putting out 2 posts per week on average. Our research indicates that as post frequency increases, the engagement per post begins to decline. So this means to say that you can't post more than 2 times per week on occasion. If the content is valuable to your followers and they're remaining engaged with the post that you're making, we do encourage you to get more posts in front of your audience. However, there is a fine line, so you don't want to post every day 3 times a day. That generally does not increase overall performance, but as with anything, there are always outliers to this recommended approach. So figure out what works for you. Maybe start with, a couple posts a week and then see what goes from there. And so we do have a question, so I do want to answer it since we're on the topic. And it says, what if you get reach but no likes? Which does happen, but then maybe you should try with your post, maybe ask a question. So For example, we're talking about, well, we always plan a month in advance, so we're preparing for February. So if you're making a post about the Super Bowl coming up, maybe instead of just making a post that says, you know, hey, we're excited for the Super Bowl, or, you know, maybe instead say, hey, the Super Bowl's coming up, you know, who's your pick, or what recipes are you making for your big game party, something like that. Usually when you ask a question, you may have people engage, and something that you should do as well if you're making a post, encourage your agents to comment on it too and share it with their friends to get their comments on it, because once people start liking and commenting on it, then other people will be able to see it and engage with it as well.
So for kind of lack of a better comparison, social media may seem like the wild, wild west, but there actually are some legal ramifications for certain behaviors. So it's really important that your agency is really considerate about what you're sharing online and avoid distributing any kind of sensitive data or imagery. So basically, when in doubt, if you're unsure of whether you can post a photo of someone, always just ask for their permission. It's much better to play it safe than have a situation arise that reflects poorly on your agency. Contests and giveaways are another big concern when it comes to the legality of your business on social media. If you're using Facebook to communicate or administer a promotion like a contest or sweepstakes, you are responsible for the lawful promotion. So this extends to the official rules, terms, and eligibility requirements, as well as compliance with applicable rules and regulations governing the promotion. It's also important to note that promotions cannot be administered on anyone's personal Facebook page, only the business page.
So implementing an effective social media strategy really takes the effort of individuals across your agency, which actually goes back to the question that was asked. So it can be a lot for one staff member to administer, you know, every piece of content on their own. So try to work with, you know, teammates when it comes to developing content and solidifying engagement, like commenting on posts, sharing to get more people to engage. However, it can also be a challenge when there are too many cooks in the kitchen. So you kind of got to find a happy medium there. So know which agencies have access to your agency's social media accounts at all times. That's also really important. And you should limit the number of people with access to only those who will be responsible for content distribution and managing the social community. This person should not be someone with a quick trigger. Instead, you know, look for an individual in your agency who fully understands your brand, your objectives, and they're able to think through any communication that is facilitated on your agency's behalf. So if a staff member who has access to the agency's social media accounts decides to part ways with the company, you should also remove them as quickly as possible. And, you know, if you need to update passwords and credentials, you should do that as well.
So now it's time to get a little social. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to submit them in the comment box on the right of your screen. We love connecting with our clients to learn, you know, what they're currently doing on social media, what they might need a little bit of help with. And if you're interested in learning more about social media at Smart Harbor, please let us know.
Yeah, if you would like to, like Emily said, learn more, feel free to complete the poll